Right, it does. But okay, and we are now live.
Okay.
There's a delay, so.
Man, that's
Alex?
dumb. All right, everyone.
Alex?
Welcome to the Wars and the Stars podcast, the podcast that doesn't get disappointed by Lucasfilm 2 times in a row. Claps off to Lucasfilm. Today we're going to be talking about the Bad Batch episode 9. What was the name of it? Bounty Lost. Oh.
Lost Bounty.
Lost Bounty.
Or you might be right. Let me look this up. I might have to change the title.
It's either Lost Bounty or Bounty Lost.
It's Bounty Lost.
Damn it.
You're right.
Wait, was I right or were you right?
You were right.
Let's go. Drew, what'd you think of the episode?
I thought it was really good. Obviously, didn't focus on the Bad Batch a lot, but we learned a really interesting thing about Omega, obviously, which I think has some really interesting implications for a certain Star Wars project coming out later this year. And I think this character may be in that show. I don't know. But it was really interesting to learn that thing that we will talk about later. Obviously, great to see Cad Bane again. And like I alluded to earlier on TikTok, I think my theory is pretty accurate that Cad Bane already had his duel with Boba Fett, and the cybernetic patch kind of shows that it did happen. I thought the episode was really solid. Again, Dave's done a great job so far with the show. You know, I don't have many complaints. Off the charts, and the Kaminoan storyline's really good. Also, I will add that subplot's really interesting.
Oh yeah.
Alex, you got any thoughts?
I enjoyed the episode. They definitely are picking up the pace now with the show. I have been kind of dogging on the first part of the season, and it was mostly just because there wasn't a whole lot going on. But now there's a lot going on. Now we have a lot of things to worry about, like what's gonna happen on Kamino. You know, Hunter making the promise that he did to Omega that he did at the end. How is that gonna come in with Crosshair? We can already assume that they're gonna go back. So how is that gonna affect Omega? I also think that the show's now getting really good. You know, something that I was kind of afraid they were going to do, and they kind of have been sticking to it, and that's sticking close to the Mandalorian with the cameos of the week. Like we had last week with Cad Bane. Now we have Cad Bane and Fennec Shand. We're already bound probably to get one more, definitely throughout the show, and one that I know he got name dropped through the episode, so potentially seeing the big man himself, who's getting his own show this year, Boba Fett.
Well, he's not quite a big man right now. He's a teenage man.
Yeah,
he's a teenage man.
Small boy. But yeah, I'm really excited about that name drop, and I'm also really excited about the reasons why the Kaminoans are interested in Omega, and it's not the fact that she's a Force sensitive.
So. Yeah, I guess we could go there right away. So basically, in the episode, we get the name drop of obviously Boba, but I didn't know this. He was called Alpha before. Was this in canon material?
This is brand new. That his technical clone name, it wouldn't be CT, like numbers. His name would just be Alpha.
Alpha, right?
And then Jango nicknamed him Boba.
Yes. So we obviously find out that, like Boba, Omega is an unaltered clone. So it's a genetic copy of Jango Fett, just as a young girl. That's essentially very interesting, and it makes me wonder more about Jango. Did Jango want a boy and a girl? I'm not so sure. But I don't think so. I think this is just a Kaminoan thing. They just did it themselves.
Yeah, probably. She looks a lot younger than Boba. A lot younger.
Yeah. She would be.
She looks like she's 10 or 11 years old. Boba looks like in Clone Wars from the last time that we see him, he's at least like 14 years old.
Boba would be 14 years old at this time.
And Omega
So-
does not look that old. Omega looks like she's like 9 or 10 years old.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
So we can assume she probably got made a few years later than Boba Fett.
Right. But she would. So here's my thing. She would be. If she was 9 or 10, she'd technically be alive during the events of Attack of the Clones and essentially Jango.
Yeah.
So maybe Jango did have something to do with it. I'm not sure. That would be really interesting if they go that route with Jango Fett saying that he wanted another kid.
It would be. It would also be weird because like, It's a very common canon fact. He wanted a son, not a daughter. So
Right.
it would be a weird change to be like, oh yeah, he also wanted a daughter, but that never gets talked about.
Yeah, plus Omega, it'd be really weird because Omega would be around Boba, and I don't think they've ever interacted. They definitely haven't. But it does bring up an interesting thing that I want to go into, where I really think that Omega is going to live past the Bad Batch. Obviously, I really think she's going to be in the Book of Boba because she's
Maybe.
essentially a sibling of Boba. She's essentially Boba Fett, but a girl.
The thing is if you want my honest opinion, she sounds like a lot better of a clone than Boba. And the reason I say that is because she's able to pick up on the Bad Batch's skills. She's very smart, like Echo and Tech, and she was able to figure out how to do Hunter's sensibilities. So, and she has a really good shot like Crosshair. The only Bad Batch member that has almost no like true like senses from is Wrecker. And honestly, like that would mean she'd have to be like really big or really strong, and putting that in a 10-year-old would be a little over the top, but yeah, that's why I honestly think she'd be a better clone than Boba, which is why they're after Omega and not him, because she's able to do all these like incredible things, and Boba hasn't been able to do that. He's a good fighter, but that took years worth of training to do.
Right, Jango essentially taught him how to do that. Right, yeah.
And even after Jango's death, he wasn't very good at it.
No,
he lost
a lot. He lost a lot in the Clone Wars. Yeah,
and he also didn't have the heart to kill someone.
Right.
But then after hanging out with people like Aura Singh and Bosk and Dengar, he was ready to kill anyone on the spot.
Yes.
So
yes.
I mean, smart kid, but it would make sense why Omega was why they're after, because it would honestly make no sense why they wouldn't be after, in this sense, Alpha instead of Omega. But I mean, I think honestly that's what gives her the big reason to be after, why the Kaminoans are so interested in her. I mean, now we know why they were interested in her. It's so they can create a new batch of clones, which is a really, I mean, I like that it's not because she's Force sensitive and whatnot, but I like the reason, but it's kind of like, here's the thing, is I like the reason they're after her. Oh, because she's a first generation unaltered clone. Well, unaltered because she's a female now?
Well, she's unaltered in the sense that the DNA is 100% Jango's, or essentially Jango's, and that she doesn't, I'm gathering she doesn't rapidly age, correct? She doesn't age twice as fast, so she ages normally? So. Yeah, right.
Yeah, because they called her Generation 1.
Yeah.
So, which is funny because when she called Rex a Generation 1, so they're Generation 1 buddies, her Echo and Rex. Oh man, but
wait. So does this mean like she's essentially as old as the Bad Batch technically, like some of the members?
Yeah, technically.
Yeah, this is man.
And Crosshair looks old as hell too.
Yeah.
I don't know why he has gray hair, but yeah, so like I like why the Kaminoans are interested in her, not because she's like Force sensitive or something, but I don't like why they're like, it's hard to explain. I don't like the reason I don't know how to like describe it. I don't like that. Oh, it's because they want to make more clones off of her. I don't like that reason. But I like the reason that she's not force sensitive, and it's because she's a true, almost 100% replication of Jango Fett. The only difference is that she's a woman. That's the only difference.
Well, I think it's, and I kind of understand where you're going from, because I really think that it'd be interesting if in the earlier episodes we saw a scene where the Kaminoans show how like disfigured some of the clones are now, because the strand, like they've run the strand down, like they're at the end with the original Jango strand. You think about it, they've been using that strand now for 13 years. So obviously it's coming to the end. And the Bad Batch is a perfect example of that. They're like, we have to try something new here. So they made mutated clones, essentially. Yeah, so it makes sense that they're after Omega because they need a new source. But I also think at the same time, they don't want to just make what they already have. They want to do something bigger and better. And I think if they're going to keep Camino around, maybe they're the ones that make the Death Troopers.
Maybe.
That we see with Thrawn and Tarkin.
Yeah, I mean, it's implied that the Death Troopers aren't clones, because in Rogue One and all that, they're seen as males, but in Rebels, we meet a female Death Trooper, so it's most likely not that they are Death Troopers. But I do think, however, the Kaminoans were a big incorporation to the Generation 3 Dark Trooper. Because we see the Kaminoans symbol on the people working on them.
Right.
So I think the Kaminoans definitely gave implications and probably schematics for the version of the Dark Trooper that Moff Gideon uses.
Well, we do kind of see them in that fight scene in Kamino, right? We see early stages of them when the Bad Batch is fighting in front of Tarkin. So I think I definitely agree with that. But I also think about the Death Troopers. I do think that if they're going to go the route where Kamino is still a part of the Empire and they secure that contract that Lama Se has been talking about, or Lama Su? So Lama Su?
Is it Lama Su?
Lama Su, yes, because the other one's not a say. Lama Su.
Oh,
has been talking about. Then I think that would be a good tie-in, and I think a female clone would work, especially if they're using female Omega's DNA. I know it's Jango's, but obviously it doesn't matter because we got a female Jango Fett, essentially, that being Omega, which is really interesting because I don't see any of Jango or Boba and Omega. But
what's funny is,
but it's cool.
Is how different, like, Boba had a very, in my opinion, it was a very like squeaker like kid voice, and Omega has a very squeaker New Zealand voice.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I love her accent. I love it so much. But
I just need a line. I just need a line where Hunter comes in and ask a question, and Omega does the yep that Daniel Logan does in Attack of the Clones.
Yes, dude. I mean, okay. Here's the thing. I really like the twist. I was really thinking every show has to have a force sensitive because of course it does. So I was thinking, oh, they're probably just gonna make her force sensitive, and that's why they're so interested in her because Palpatine, blah blah blah. However, like when I started to think more about it, it was like, then why is the Empire wanting to shut off their contract with Kamino? That would make no sense. If Palpatine needed them, why cut off the contract? So I was happy that it wasn't that. Just overall, I didn't like it because they just wanted to make more clones. Seems lazy. I wish it was like, I wish we had her because then we would be able to make, for instance, more people who could pick up abilities like Omega. Like more clones that could pick up enhanced abilities.
Okay, that's fair, but I really think there's something to these Phase 3 clones that we don't know about yet, so maybe that answers your question. I think the reason it's okay, because they kind of explained that the Jango DNA strand is running out. But I guess to get off of that point, we could kind of go into the Cad Bane and Fennec stuff. If you would have told
Love
me,
them.
if we would have told
Love
me
them.
a year and a half or so ago uh, that we were going to see Fennec Shand and Boba Fett fight, I would have slapped you. Or I mean, not Boba Fett, Cad Bane fight. I would have slapped you in the face because that's the dumbest thing I ever heard. But
Yeah.
we saw it happen, and I thought it was
Yeah.
really cool. I saw some people complaining that Cad lost. I don't think Cad lost. I thought it was a draw.
Well, yeah, I was gonna say, Fennec ran away, so
Right.
she was able to buy time, but she didn't win that fight. I don't think any of them did.
Plus Fennec, yeah, they both lost. They didn't get any money.
Right, which is
Plus-
it was literally a great deal. Literally, I'll take the money, you take Omega. Bam, we both get the same payment. It's an
Right.
it's literally even.
Right.
But no, that can't happen. That can't happen.
No.
Obviously, I have to show that I'm the superior bounty hunter, and you have to die because of it.
Yeah, and I didn't really mind that Fennec won. I mean, I'm calling it a draw, but
Yeah, same here.
because Fennec is a very skilled bounty hunter.
Right? Yeah. That like they even established, like Sid established that she's new, but she's already made her mark in the bounty hunter scene. So I don't see where the problem stems from. I think it's just
No.
people who are mad that Cad came back already and then lost a fight.
But he lived.
Exactly. So we're gonna see him again. I definitely felt like this was a goodbye Fennec Shan until Book of Boba Fett.
You think so?
I don't think we'll see her again.
Do you think we see Cad again?
Of course.
Do you think
And
we see Cad? Do you think we see Cad in Book of Boba?
Yes, if Boba does not show up in the show. No, if Boba does.
So you've kind of revised your take in a week.
Yes, because the show straight up name dropped Boba Fett. So
Okay.
I'm gonna say that. I'm gonna say if we don't see Boba, then yes, we'll see him in Book of Boba Fett. If we do see Boba, then no.
Yeah, I think there are more and more clues that he's gonna be in the Book of Boba. Number one, they brought him back. They brought him back just to
That
general.
doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, but if he was dead in the Clone Wars, or most people saw him as dead, Clone Wars fans, you didn't have to bring him back. Plus, he's not in Rebels. He's not in Rebels at all. They could have brought him back in Rebels somehow. They brought Hondo back in Rebels.
Which to that point, that makes me think that he's gonna die in this show
Because he's not in Rebels.
because he's not in Rebels.
Boba Fett's not in Rebels.
Well, he doesn't die till Return of the Jedi, so of course he's not.
Right, but he's not in Rebels. They could
I
have
know
had a storyline.
that's what I'm saying is just because he's not in Rebels doesn't mean that he can't live, and because that can go for literally anyone. Oh, Luke Skywalker isn't in Rebels, so he's not going to show up in the other movies. It's like,
Well, right, no, but I think that hurts kind of your argument, because your argument is like, oh, I think he has to die because he's not in another animated show.
that's not what I said. I didn't
No,
say
but
that.
that's what you're implying. You're implying that you're implying that he might have to bite the bullet here because he's not in another show.
I'm saying if Boba's in this show, then he has to bite the bullet. If Boba shows up, then he has to die. But if he doesn't show up, no, he's gonna go in Book of Boba Fett, and that's where we'll do it.
See, I think it would be pretty stupid to bring Cad back for like 3 episodes and then just waste him. I think it would make sense to kind of set him up to be in the book. I know this is not a direct prequel to the Book of Boba Fett, but it's setting up backstories for like characters like Fennec.
Well, no, I
think
think it would also make sense to have him show up in Book of Boba Fett. I would want to see that deleted scene happen in live action over animation. However, I have heard more people say that they would rather see an animation because it was going to be an animation first.
I prefer anything in live action.
I don't care as long as it happens. I just
That's a fair take.
just want to see him die.
It's a fair take.
The
But
thing
again,
is, like in that deleted scene, I could have sworn he got shot in the body, not the head.
No, he got shot in the head. His
And-
hat flies off.
And even then, I would say to that point, if you get shot in the head, there is a very, very low chance you're surviving, let alone a blaster bolt to the head.
He survived, obviously. He's got a cybernetic in his head.
Which, dude, you know what else this episode reminded me? Just how much I love Cad Bane's blasters and how they sound.
Oh, they're great.
Dude, it is so amazing. Sorry, my dog is going crazy right now. I love his blasters so much. Also, Fennec's in this show. I don't know. Star Wars sound design is always weird to me because I just love listening to blaster sounds. Am I weird for that?
No, if that's your click, then that's your click.
It's even weird because I'm not crazy about how the lightsaber sounds, but just dude, blaster. That's what I talked about this in the episode with Rex. I got confused by the blaster sound effect because that's not what a clone trooper blaster sounds like. So I don't know. But Cad, dude, I know you said something about it last episode. I love his outfit in this show. It looks just.
I love his ship too. I love his ship. Everything.
Yes. Even though I like the Xanadu blood more, I still love this ship.
Cad Bane just feels like he would fit in The Mandalorian. He just feels like that type of character that would fit.
Yes. But here's the thing is, do you get the voice actor who did him to voice him? Or would you have to recast?
I don't know. We're just gonna have to wait and see. I'm kind of worried about what it's gonna look like. Because a blue Duro is gonna look like Cad Bane's gonna look weird in live action. It's gonna take me a while to get used to.
Oh no. Corey Burton, who does the voice for him, is 65 years old. So that would have to mean most likely a recast.
Probably, which I wouldn't mind. Again,
but how do you capture that voice? That's like recasting Grand Admiral Thrawn. You can't do that. Or no, recasting recasting Darth Vader. No, they've done that before for the video games. But even then, that sounds so good.
They recasted. I mean, they did it with the Han Solo actor. They felt like Alden did a pretty good job as Han. It felt like Han.
I mean, that's a way, way, way younger Han Solo.
Plus, it's a bigger character. I feel like they could do it with Cad.
I mean, how even old is Cad Bane? Because, how old? I gotta look this up now. He's 51, so he might fit it. Actually, he could fit it.
Yeah, because he'd
be like in his 70s, like maybe like mid 70s by the time of Book of Boba Fett.
Right.
So it could work. I mean,
right. Plus, you could say his species just ages differently.
Maybe he's just built different.
Maybe he just stays like an old man, like he is forever. That's how he was born. He was born as like an old guy just chewing a toothpick. By the way, which is great. He just feels so menacing every time he comes in. Chewing on the toothpick.
Dude, his little lady line. Oh my god, I love it.
He's so good. He's
Dude,
the best. He's got the best lines in Star Wars animation.
Yes. But I mean, here's the thing: is like, and I have this kind of little gripe last time. His voice just doesn't sound right anymore. I don't know. I'm not a fan of it anymore. It's nothing that's going to be like, oh, this breaks the show, breaks immersion. It's like, no.
It felt like him. It felt like Cad.
It felt like him, but it just didn't sound like him.
Okay.
So that's my only issue with him being brought back, because it just doesn't feel right anymore.
I disagree, but again, I think all the signs are pointing towards him being in the Boba Fett show, and possibly even like a Mandalorian cameo. I think it would just make sense. He fits like that. Those two shows. He just fits that era. I feel like, and it'd be interesting to see. How he reacts to seeing Fennec and Boba working together. I mean, we kind of got their first fight in the Bad Batch. Maybe they fight again in the Book of Boba.
Or maybe they
Uh,
fight again. Who knows?
that'd be really cool to see.
Yeah. See, this is the problem that Star Wars has, is coming out with prequels to existing content. Like, dude, are you telling me that, like, Fennec Shen wouldn't have fit in Rebels?
Yeah, she would have. She feels like a character that would have.
Just what I would have loved to see her. I would have loved to see her in the animation style. Oh my god. Oh my god. It's just bad because there's only one Clone Wars no, maybe two Clone Wars characters that show up in Rebels whose character models look good, and that's Ahsoka and Rex. The others are kind of hit or miss. Dude, everyone dogs on Anakin's. You know what I think about from that Anakin holographic is how they gave him the thick lightsaber, but they didn't do that for the rest of the show.
I feel like it works for the show, and I've grown to appreciate it for the show. The one that kind of gets me more than others is Maul. I'm like, Maul just like looks way too skinny.
I love Maul in that show. I forgot. Now 3. I love. I don't remember the episode name. It's when he takes the Holocrons of Fate, when him and Ezra combine the Holocrons. Dude, his outfit in that episode is just amazing.
I obviously love him in that and everything, but yes. I think my favorite episode with him is, I don't know if it's the same one or not, but when he's at his lair and he just has a picture of Satine.
Oh no, that's damn. I don't remember what it's called. But they're on Dathomir.
He just has a giant picture of Satine, which is
why
really. Which is like so Darth Maul. That's so Darth Maul.
And then he has the Darksaber, I think, like right in front of it.
Yeah.
It's like first of all, it's a big fuck you and fuck you twice, because now here's the sword that controls your people.
Yeah. Maul took a big downfall, man. This guy was like the leader of Mandalore, then the leader of the
blowdown in all of Star Wars, bro.
Then the leader of a gang, and then nothing, hermit, and then dead by an old man.
And then failed to take over an apprentice. Oh my god. And then, dude, he could have killed Kanan in Twilight of the Apprentice, pushed him off the cliff, or pushed him off the temple, not blind him, and then try to kill him.
I do think that's stupid. That I will say, I'm like, sometimes when I watch that, I understand why it happened. Maul's pretty arrogant, but I'm like, okay, we got to stop this with the Maul's too arrogant. At some point, he's got to do something. Like, I don't think he should have killed Kanan, but I don't think Kanan, like, right away should have,
I think we've had our fair share of just Maul being a plain badass. I mean, Season 7 Clone Wars. Which, like, also, let me ask you this.
Right, that's against clones, though. I mean, I think I could do that with a lightsaber. Sorry.
He didn't kill anyone with a lightsaber. He killed him with a wall.
Yeah, I'm saying if you give me the Force, I could have done the same thing.
Yeah, sure you could have. Could have. You want to remember how almost all the top Jedi in the Order died to clones? And what? Their whole big canon explanation for how it happened was shock.
Yeah, they were shocked.
Oh my gosh. That'd be like, oh my god, that character just died in the movie.
Well, I will say some of the Jedi are stupid. Like Ki-Adi-Mundi just stood there for like 5 seconds.
Yeah, but he looked at them. He's like, "What are you guys doing?" Block dead.
No, and then Ayla, I feel bad for Ayla Secura.
Ayla got gunned down.
Ayla, they just kept shooting. They didn't stop either.
Yeah.
And that's another thing the show needs to go into, by the way. I don't mean to, I know we're going all over the place, but they need to explore some of these clone commanders like after like they killed their Jedi. I want to see a little bit of Bly. I need to see a little bit of I definitely think we'll see Wolf and Gregor at some point, but I don't know when.
I think we're destined to have Rex come back.
My prediction, end of season 1, Hunter decides to go and find Rex, and they go and join up with Rex.
But then it's like, where are they? Because here's the thing is, they're not going to kill Omega in this show. They do not have the balls to do that.
Maybe it's the reason why Rex goes in hiding, because something happens to the Bad Batch, and he feels so bad. And that's the explanation for why he's away in Rebels. but he hides Omega somewhere.
We're gonna get another Grogu
Or
tie-in.
yeah, or Omega is just like at that point Omega decides to become a bounty hunter. I don't know. Maybe I don't know.
Omega and Alpha, the hunters of bounties. Like, what would happen if that happened?
I think that'd be really interesting. I really need to. The more and more I think about it, I'm just like they're brother and sister. They have to interact somehow. I really think that's what they're setting up.
Like, here's the thing: is like
she makes sense for the Book of Boba now, especially if they're siblings.
What I think about is like, all the clone troopers are brothers. I'm like, yeah, technically, but I have Cad Bane pulled up in the browser next to me, so I'm just called Omega Cad Bane. Omega and Boba Fett are identical. The only difference is their gender. So literally, they are brother and sister because they are identical replicas of Jango. So that's something that if she does appear in Book of Boba Fett, which I doubt she does, but would really, really, really want to see, is I would want to see that sibling relationship. What if we see her and Fennec is like, all on guard because of because like she remembers, oh shit, not this girl again, and then, what if she's just like, yeah, he's my brother.
She would be a badass by then.
Yes, dude. I mean, she'd be just a bit younger than Boba, and you could really have some good liberties with casting at that point.
Right, because she'd be like 38-ish.
Yeah, just about. I mean, Boba looks aged. Let's be real.
Well, right. Well, that's because Tamora Morrison's older.
60,
Plus, the canon reasons Boba fell into a Sarlacc and that messed up his face. So.
Yeah, it messed up his face. He aged 40 years from it.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Sucked all of his hair off. I don't know.
Yeah. It's crazy. Like, let me ask you. I know this is kind of unrelated. Do you think we'll see a Spider-Man No Way Home trailer or a Book of Boba Fett trailer first?
Definitely a Spider-Man No Way Home trailer.
Really?
Yeah.
Is it bad? I think we're gonna see a Book of Boba Fett trailer first.
You're wrong because I don't think you've learned anything from Lucasfilm, but I think that is Sony worse than Lucasfilm? Is that what you're saying? Because you might be right.
No, I'm saying like when it comes to their live action stuff, then Lucasfilm cares. They'll release 20 trailers.
Well, they didn't really do anything for Mando. They released like they released a 1.5-minute trailer in November, and then they released for their final trailer that they built up for 30 seconds.
Are you talking about season 1 or season 2?
Season 2. Season 1 obviously was a bigger push because it was like the first Disney Plus show. Season 2 they did nothing.
I saw a lot of trailers.
There were 2 when they were a month away.
I'm talking about like on TV, you would see a lot of the trailers.
Yeah, there were TV spots, but it was during the show. They're still doing those for Loki.
I don't know, man. Look, all I'm saying is like I think we have a better chance right now getting a Book of Boba Fett trailer before we get a Spider-Man trailer.
Book of Boba Fett trailer will be in November, probably Thanksgiving week, especially since it's going to release Christmas of this year.
What if we released on Christmas? That'd be the best Christmas present of all time.
Yeah, that would be Book of Boba Fett. But I would kind of like Omega and Boba to be kind of rivals.
It'd be a good rivalry.
Have some resentment towards each other.
Unfortunately, Christmas is on a Saturday this year.
Yeah, have some resentment towards each other. I don't think they'd like each other. I think Boba would have, because Boba feels a connection to Jango, and he'd have some resentment because Omega doesn't have any connection.
What if they had a Tony Stark and Captain America argument from the first Avenger movie, from the first Avengers movie? They had a similar argument. Oh, that'd be golden. That'd be gold. I really want to see Boba Fett in this show.
I don't think it's going to happen because the whole purpose of having the bounty hunters is because the Kaminoans need them. And the Kaminoans very clearly state that we don't know where Boba Fett is, which I don't know how.
Yeah,
Because Boba Fett's
he's definitely a big name at this point.
right. Yeah, so I don't think he's going to be. I don't think he's at least in the first season.
Maybe, dude. I don't know. I really think we could see him. I really do. I would love it though, dude. It would make me pop more than if Obi-Wan Kenobi showed up in the show. Like, I don't know. Like, you could put any major Star Wars character. If Boba Fett appeared, dude, I would lose my mind. Lose it, dude.
I think he'd be cool. He'd be cool to see, but
the problem is would he overshadow the batch?
No.
Man, really? I think he could.
Well, maybe, but like again, he would have a minor role in the show. I just don't think it's going to happen as of now.
You think if they bring Boba Fett in the show, they're going to give him a minor role?
Yeah, because what purpose have bounty hunter serves? I'm just going based off of what the plot of the show is, and so far it's to help out what the Kaminoans want. The Kaminoans don't know where he is, so I don't see him popping up in this first season at least.
But
I really think
who could seek out Boba Fett? The Bad Batch. Find someone who's just like Omega.
They don't know that.
They do. They name dropped them, saying that they were just like each other.
Yeah, but they don't know like where Boba Fett is, how to find him. Like they could get the information from Sid, but like
right, exactly.
Boba doesn't like clones. Boba doesn't like clones.
Oh bullshit! He was gonna cry if he had to kill one.
Boba doesn't. I think he's a little bit older now. He definitely doesn't like clones.
It doesn't matter if he doesn't like clones. Sid just has to lie to him. There's the grounds for him to show up in this show.
Sure, and maybe you could. Then again, I really think that Dave, the Filoniverse, as I call it. I think Dave is setting up some of these characters. I really think if they're going with this storyline that
even
Django,
then, sorry to cut you off here, but it would make just as much sense to have Fennec Shand in this show as it would to have Boba Fett in the show. Marketing.
Yeah, sure. Right, but then again, in the episode, it's established that the Kaminoans don't know where he is, and the whole purpose of the bounty hunter so far has been to help the Kaminoans, and that's going to continue to be the storyline. So I don't see how Boba works right now. And
hold on, what's the episode of the next? Or what's the name of the next episode?
Common Ground.
Look at that.
That could mean a multitude of things.
Even more of a reason that he will show up. He could be the common ground between Omega and himself.
Maybe.
You hear it first. It's the most accurate theory you're going to hear. Boba Fett.
Are you gonna predict that Boba Fett's in the next episode?
Dude, why not?
Okay.
Or he's at least name dropped, or they're gonna start seeking him out.
That would be interesting. And
more specifically, it's gonna be something about Crosshair.
Okay, but if Boba Fett is in the show, I really think that they build the relationship with Omega. And I more so think now than ever, Omega is probably in the Book of Boba Fett. I think it just makes sense.
Look, I think what Star Wars should just start doing is kind of how Marvel at the end of the movies, like at the end of Captain America: Civil War, it has the Spider-Man will return. That's what we need for Star Wars. We need the Omega will return, or Fennec Shand will return. Like, we need that. We need this because there's a lot of uncertainty with characters. Like, I really want to hope we'll see Fennec Shand again because I love her in this show. Is it bad for me to say kind of more than what we see of her in Mando?
No, it's not. It's
Mando season 1. She was kind of lame in season 1. Season 2 definitely amped her up.
Well, she's in the worst episode of season 1.
Who cares? That doesn't make you a bad character, but.
I'm just saying that episode is god awful.
Poor Dave, man. Poor Dave.
It's because of Toro. Toro sucks.
Yes, dude.
Toro's the worst bounty hunter on the planet.
He was just written so poorly.
He was written to be a carbon copy of Han Solo. Like literally, when you meet him, he has the same pose as Han and everything. And it's just like he's the arrogant bounty. The part that I don't get is he has the thingy. You know what I'm talking about? The tracker.
Yep, the pup.
He's like,
Or no, yeah,
it's not. Yeah, I know. Whatever. It's the
it's
fob.
yeah,
It's a fob.
the tracking fob.
Yes. And he looks at it and he decides to smash it. And Mando's like, "Yep, I'm still gonna work with this dude. Yep, I'm just not gonna kill him right here and take his stuff." Like, why? Why?
I don't know, dude. Look, Din Djarin, not the smartest guy. Okay, not the smartest guy.
Din Djarin doesn't understand. He hasn't watched the first 6 Star Wars movies,
Exactly.
obviously, because he doesn't know anybody.
He just
Are
needs
you
to
a
start keeping
Jedi?
up with his lore.
Are you
Like-
a Jedi? That's the first question you asked, dude. He just took out like 20 of those Dark Troopers, and you're like,
Well,
Are
I
you a
mean,
Jedi?
okay. To be fair, to be frank with him, when Bo-Katan asked him, "What do you know about Jedi?" he said he literally knows nothing.
he just
So-
saw Ahsoka, and he's like, yeah,
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know if you're a Jedi or not. I just
No,
met
well,
one.
He lived in a
Presumably,
time with like Darth Vader, so it's probably hard to distinguish.
He doesn't know who Vader is.
Yes, who doesn't? Who
I don't
doesn't?
think he knows who Vader is.
Maybe he doesn't know Darth Vader's a Sith Lord.
Maybe.
But yeah.
It makes sense that Din doesn't know. It makes sense that probably most people in the galaxy don't know who the Jedi and Sith are.
Well, the only thing that the galaxy knows after the Empire, or during the time of the Empire, is that the Jedi were war criminals.
Right,
That's the
which
only thing they
is
know.
technically not wrong.
Kind of isn't. If you think about
I mean,
it.
there
they
are
were-
some Jedi. There are Jedi who committed war crimes during.
Well, no, if you think about it, okay.
Anakin committed a lot, but
Ahsoka was going to become a Jedi Knight in that show at, like, what was it, 16? And she was going to get her own Legion of Clone Troopers. She was basically going to be a general at 16 years old.
yeah,
Like, bruv, you can't do that.
Anakin faked a surrender.
Multiple times. Choked, or it very much did some hardcore interrogation to their prisoners. Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
had prisoners of war, too, by the way. Dude, I'm telling you, the Jedi are a bunch of war criminals.
Right.
Look, that's why
No,
Order
this-
66 was right. That's why the Empire is good guys.
Okay.
That's why the
Okay.
Empire is the true good guys of
You
Star
lost
Wars.
it.
They're just
You lost
misunderstood. They're misunderstood. Misunderstood.
Okay. The last thing we want to talk about is the Kaminoans. I think the subplot is really interesting.
Dude,
By the way,
easily
by the
most
way,
interesting
rest in-
subplot
rest in
in
peace.
Star Wars.
rest in peace to Ton Wee, the first ever Kaminoan we saw in live action. You had to bite the bullet because you were the third most important Kaminoan in the show.
Yeah, unfortunately, you're not important enough to get an on-screen death.
I'm very sorry. The first Kaminoan, I think it's the first Kaminoan we see die. Well, we don't see die, but dead.
Yeah, I'm pretty
We
sure.
saw 2 this episode because we saw one in the bacta tank fall on Fennec.
Was that a Kaminoan? That didn't look like one. It looked like I thought it was E.T.
The Kaminoan.
I thought it was an oversized E.T.
It was the Kaminoan.
Are we sure about this?
I think so. But then again, this is really interesting because I thought the Kaminoans were done for during the show. I thought Kamino was going to get blown up. But it seems like they
I
have
don't know.
other facilities.
And I don't know why they shut them down, but they did.
Yeah, which is really interesting.
Which now begs the question. Was Dr. Pershing wearing a Kaminoan tag? Or was he wearing something else? Because now we know that there's new facilities. So here's the thing, were the long neck people, are they really Kaminoans? Or are they just Kaminoans on Kamino, but on other planets, they're different species who specialize in the same aspect?
Maybe, but it's really interesting why they abandoned that city. I want to kind of know what's up with that because they got the same technology and everything.
It gave me Force Unleashed 2 vibes. If you've played that game, the
I know what
the first mission when you have to escape the facility and they're running through that corridor if you remember when you're running away from the gunship and it's shooting in the window and you have to dash through, that's what it gave me vibes about. I was like, oh, which, I'm still Star Wars. I was complimenting Disney earlier on a TikTok post. I was like, you know what? If there's something that Disney always gets right, it's Darth Vader. But now that I'm really upset at Disney because I just remembered something. Well, since we were just talking about this, Starkiller was supposed to be in Star Wars canon, in Rebels, and we never got it.
Why not?
What?
Why didn't we get it?
It was early concept for an Inquisitor, but not. I mean, I low-key would have been pissed if they brought him in because, like, how are you gonna bring that whole subplot or that whole plot about him being Vader's apprentice?
You could make Starkiller canon. He just wouldn't have the same story. People would be pissed, but like, who cares?
Yeah, I mean, listen. If you're watching this and you try to say Rey's overpowered, you ain't seen anything till you've seen Starkiller. He ripped an entire Star Destroyer out of the sky.
Yeah, I mean, he was insane.
Well, no, he's ripped 2 Star Destroyers out of the sky.
The closest thing I think in raw power we've seen compared. I'm just saying no training. Savage was a beast.
He was given those powers.
He didn't learn anything. He was a beast.
Overpowered.
I think Savage, if like he learned how to use his powers, he would have been the most powerful thing ever.
Yes, if he was alive if he survived Clone Wars, bro, he would have been easily, if he became an Inquisitor, the most overpowered Inquisitor.
Oh yeah. Oh, definitely.
The thing that made no sense to me about the Inquisitorius is why bring them in and why give them so much harsh training? It makes them weak. Like, I think what I guess you can always boil it down to the Sith are arrogant. I hate excuses like that. I know I've talked to you about why I don't like the Doctor Strange seeing 14,605 possibilities and only one win, and only one's a win. It just feels cheap. Like you said earlier with the Maul, like eventually you got to stop using the fact he's too arrogant to be a justifiable thing for him to keep losing. But that's what I just don't like is like, oh, it's because the Sith are arrogant, so they lose all the time. I just don't like it. Which, you know what, since this is a Bad Batch episode, do you think we could see an Inquisitor in the show?
I would prefer if finally we get away from seeing lightsabers and Force sensitivity. I really feel like this is a breath of fresh air, and I like its uniqueness. The Mandalorian has a couple of Jedi, but it's so sparse that it feels good. It fits. And I feel like the Bad Batch should be the same way.
I think also why the Mandalorian worked is because when it brought in lightsabers, it's who those lightsabers were associated with. Luke and Ahsoka. Right. And I think we could get something like that if we get like the Grand Inquisitor involved on this.
But what would the Grand Inquisitor do?
Here's the thing is, it would make sense for the Grand Inquisitor to be after Omega, because he could try to kill Omega before she gets returned to Kamino. I mean, I don't know. Like, I couldn't think of a plot right now off the top of my head, but I think getting the Inquisitors just involved, especially the Grand Inquisitor, would be just amazing. I feel like it really needs to happen soon. I feel like we need more Inquisitor stories, not in their own TV show.
It would be cool to see, right? I don't think that's going to happen, but it would be cool to see. But I don't think it would make much sense. I think the Bad Batch would just have to lose.
No, I know what I need to see. We do need to see the Inquisitors again. And I wouldn't even care if this plot line in the Vader comics gets retconned. One of the Inquisitors gets outsmarted and brings a squadron of clones onto them or with them, and someone who they're after executes Order 66 on them. And because they're still seen as Jedi in the eyes of the clones kill the Inquisitors. Oh my god, that would be badass.
And that's the main reason why Tarkin doesn't want him back.
Yes, because now they know about Order 66. It's kind of like because it would also fit into the Empire, like with Geonosis. Um, after the Geonosians helped with the Death Star, fucking killed them all.
Yeah,
So I think it would. I think honestly, dude, I wouldn't care if that got retconned at all. I wouldn't care.
that's fair. That's fair.
That's why
All right.
I think we should see that Inquisitor story be told in animation. But I don't care. I think it was Jocasta Nu either set off the order, or it was in like another. I don't remember who set it off, but that's what I would like to see.
All right. So we've talked about the Bad Batch episode 9 for about 50 minutes. I'm gonna give this episode a 8.5 out of 10. The same
Agreed.
for Loki. I gave Loki an 8.5 out of 10 earlier this week. So again, if I get two solid Marvel and Star Wars shows, I'm going to be very happy every single week.
Yep,
Alex,
yep,
what
yep.
about you?
Same thing. I love the Loki episode. I love this episode of the Bad Batch. I hope both continue on their great momentum, especially the Bad Batch. I honestly wouldn't mind a bad episode of Loki. I again put bad, like a less than what we've gotten with episodes 1 to 3. But I'm hoping more than anything that the Bad Batch is able to keep up its momentum. I've been really enjoying the show so far. So I don't think the first part of the season was very good. I liked episode 1, 3, and 5. But episodes 4, or episodes 2, 4, and 6 were kind of just like okay. But yeah, I'm really liking the momentum of the show. I'm okay with it kind of being slow in the beginning, and now we're starting to pick up the pace. I didn't see the mid-season trailers, so maybe I'll have to watch it after we get off of this. So
Yeah, there's not many new shots. One of the new shots is of Fennec in this episode, but there are a couple of interesting uh,
yeah,
details of them. I think probably it looks like Onderon, but I'm not sure. Uh, so yeah, great episode again. Uh, basically, my predictions, just long-term predictions. I think it's possible we see Cad Bane and Omega in the Book of Boba Fett. And Alex, you got any like predictions, like long term or short term? Boba Fett, right?
what was it?
You think we see Boba Fett? Is that your
Um,
like prediction?
my big prediction for the season is Crosshair's gonna die. I think
Okay.
I think it's more and more likely they're just gonna kill Crosshair.
Yeah, I don't see much redemption in him.
Yeah, it's funny because the beginning of the episode when they're leaving Braca, is it bad when they did the close up of Crosshair? I just wanted to put the edit of Nebula and Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 when she's entering Ego, and she's just like screaming at the top of her lungs when she's shooting at Gamora in the ship, just over Crosshair's face. I'm sorry, but like I just hope the show doesn't do what they did to Crosshair earlier in the show and just don't include him anymore. We need to see what happened to him, bro. We need to see his face and his body after what happened to him.
Okay. And
So,
you stick into the Boba Fett thing? Think we're gonna see Boba?
I think we'll see Boba. And again, I'm still going to stick to my thing. If we see Boba, Cad is going to die in this show. If we don't see Boba, he's going to die in the Book of Boba Fett.
Okay. Which one are you hoping for?
For him not to show up in the show.
Okay, that's fair.
I want
All
to
right,
see live
guys.
action.
Yeah, same. All right, guys, it's time to get into some news. We got a couple of pieces of news over the last 2 days after a somewhat slow week. Obviously, I guess me and Alex are to touch on this a little bit. People on TikTok were complaining that the Acolyte has a writer that hasn't seen Star Wars. Not a big deal, in my opinion. They probably have a bunch of people in the writers' room. That's our thoughts on it. I thought the interview was great. I think Leslie knows a lot about Star Wars. She said that she read Heir to the Empire, the Thrawn books, so she has a vast knowledge of the franchise. I think she's going to do just fine. Alex, you got any thoughts on it?
People are freaking out literally over nothing.
Okay.
This
Yeah.
this stuff
So,
happens all the time.
yeah. Well,
Welcome
Is
to the
what it
internet.
All right. So this is some breaking news from today. It's about
Ooh.
Star Wars Squadrons, a Rogue Squadron.
You got me excited.
Yeah, not Squadrons. I was thinking the bad video game. Matthew
Video
Robinson,
game. Dead video game.
The Invention of Lion, he wrote that obviously, is writing the script for Patty Jenkins' Rogue Squadron. The project is hoping to go into pre-production this fall with filming sometime in
Look at
2022.
that.
Obviously, the film is coming out in December of 2023, so there's some time before this movie comes out. But we know who's writing it now, and we know that filming will begin sometime within the next year. Alex, you got any thoughts on this news about the next theatrical Star Wars release?
It shouldn't be the first one. I'm sorry. Sorry.
Not even about what's happening here, but go ahead.
It just shouldn't be
Go
the first
off.
movie.
Go off.
No, I'm excited though. A pilot. Here's the thing: is
Clearly,
one of the things, Disney gets a lot right with Star Wars, like giving credit where credit is due. Darth Vader and whatnot. They get space fights so good. I don't understand it. Like Force Awakens, Rogue One, Last Jedi, Solo, and The Rise of Skywalker all have bomb space fights. And that even goes into Rebels, Clone Wars, that goes into, why can't I think of it? We just talked Bad Batch. I don't know why I just blanked on the Bad Batch. But like everything they do in space, I don't know how they do it so good, but they do. So I'm excited for Rogue Squadron. Man, I'm just not a fan of it being the first movie coming back.
Yeah, I've heard that a lot from Star Wars fans. Definitely, but
I wish it would have either been the Kevin Feige produced movie or the Taika Waititi movie. Those are my opinions. Not even just because I like Kevin Feige and Taika Waititi. I just feel like those are the safer choices because they're more reliable than Patty Jenkins, which I don't judge people based on their worst movies or their worst work. She did just come off of Wonder Woman 1984, not a very well received movie. So I don't know. It feels odd to have her come back, but she has had good movies, so I'm not just gonna say her one of her most recent bad movies is her make or break. But I really would have liked to see something a bit safer come back.
So I understand that, that opinion, but I really think that Patty was really excited for this movie.
Yes.
Every time she's talked about it, her father, if you guys didn't know, watching this, served in the Air Force. She grew up around planes and fighter pilots, so she's definitely lived that life, and I think that's important when you write a story as you've been around it. And she says she wants to make the best fighter pilot story ever, and I really think that she's going to do it. I really think you could do a lot of interesting stuff, especially with the technology now with fighter pilots. I'd like to see somewhat of like a Top Gun type of thing. I think it'd be really interesting to see. I don't know, like I'm hoping that it's about a group of pilots, like obviously a rogue squadron.
I mean, well, here's the thing: is like when you think of Rogue Squadron, I of course think of Wedge and whatnot. He's Rogue Leader and whatnot.
I think of just a different set of characters. I want a different set of characters. I just want this to be something new and unique. And
I'm confused about is that's definitely an original trilogy X-wing, but it's just like I feel like we're getting too many original trilogy.
Is it an original? Because I don't know.
I at first thought it was a sequels one, but the sequels, if you notice where the engines are, the sequels are a lot more like oval-like. Those are circles, just like the T-65s, which are the Rebellion ones.
See, guys, as you can tell, Alex pays way too much attention to shit that doesn't matter, but that's why we love him.
Okay. Well, I'm not going to say anything. It's not like we've never seen a T-65 show up in like the sequel era. I mean, we saw one in Rise of Skywalker, but I mean that was Luke Skywalker's T-65. So Which that's what's still one of my favorite details from Rogue One is that Red 5 died. So they're just like, Luke can have the call sign now, and it's one of the most like famous call signs in Star Wars.
True. Yeah, but I'm really excited for this movie. I can't wait to see.
Oh yeah,
What
Star
the
Wars
what the
movie's a Star Wars movie, man.
Can't wait to see the cast. I can't wait to see. I can't wait to see what it looks like. I think this is going to be one of the more visually amazing movies,
I hope,
especially
dude.
if we're going to get a lot of dog fights, which I think.
Yes, which I don't know. It just feels weird having a fighter pilot movie come back as the first one. But I know I'm praising Disney. Surprise, surprise here. They have been getting a lot of people very close to what the film or show they're writing and directing and whatnot. They're getting a lot of people close to that sort of aspect, like Patty Jenkins with fighter pilot movies, and you said her name earlier.
Leslie Headland.
Yeah, Leslie Headland with Acolyte, a huge Star Wars fan. So I'm really liking Disney's newer choices with directors and screenwriters and whatnot. I loved, I love all the movies where the directors of the Star Wars movies were huge Star Wars fans growing up. Rian Johnson and Gareth Edwards, to be specific. But unfortunately, in some of the cases, you can kind of feel when the people have never really, they're not as big of fans. So you kind of feel the kind of just like simpler story, which I kind of feel Rise of Skywalker, Solo, and Force Awakens are. They're kind of simple stories versus Rogue One and Last Jedi are very much more complex stories, which people have their own varying opinions on one of those specific movies. Which I will say, I go on TikTok and I hear people say, "Oh yeah, well Rogue One is obviously one of the most acclaimed and loved Star Wars movies of the Disney era." I'm like, is it though? Because that is almost always at the bottom of people's lists. Man, which I'm actually gonna rewatch Rogue One after this. I'm excited for it. I love.
It's
Rogue
in
One.
my top 5.
I love Rogue One, but it's not in my top 5. I think it's actually at the bottom of my list.
Wow, I think it's the best Disney Star Wars film.
Really, you know what I think is.
Last Jedi, right?
Yeah.
I think
I think visually the best one is Last Jedi. I think story-wise it's Rogue One, even though I hate the first 2 acts because of how slow they are.
Yeah, well, yeah, I do understand that. I think I love the characters a lot, but the third act is one of the strong. It might be like the third best in Star Wars. It might be behind Revenge of the Sith and Return of the Jedi. It's that good.
I think it's better than Revenge of the Sith's third act.
Okay, that's fair.
I think the top 3 third acts of any Star Wars movie in no particular order: Return of the Jedi, Rogue One, and it's either going to be tied for me at The Last Jedi or The Empire Strikes Back.
Okay.
Those 2 movies, they're super tied for me.
Oh, I forgot the third act of A New Hope. Yeah, Rogue One's probably 4th. I think the third act of A New Hope is great.
I love A New Hope because I think A New Hope is paced amazingly. The first act is paced wrong. It's really slow. Like, in the first act, we're on Tatooine, then we're on the Death Star, then we're blowing up the Death Star. We're not jumping.
That movie is really quick.
It does. Like, once you get past the first act, bro, it feels like the movie's over in 20 minutes.
But I love it. I even love the first act. I know a lot of people say it's slow. I love it.
It's just slow. I don't think the writing or anything of it's bad. I just think it's a slow thing. I think it's
the best paced Star Wars movie.
I'm going to give that to Force Awakens. I think
Phantom
Menace is too slow of a movie. I think Attack of the Clones is way too slow of a movie. Revenge of the Sith is too fast of a pace movie. A New Hope's a really good pace movie. No, best pace is Empire Strikes Back. Easily.
Yeah.
Yes. Return of the Jedi's first act is kind of bad. I think Return of the Jedi has easily the worst first act of any Star Wars movie. I think Luke's plan might be one of the worst things about Star Wars in all of Star Wars.
The Phantom Menace has a pretty bad first act.
I mean, it's not that bad though. I mean, the first like 10 minutes of the movie are enjoyable. The
Uh,
thing with Return of the Jedi is it's just slow. It's just like, are you telling me Luke just couldn't have gone in there and just like thrown his lightsaber at everyone and killed them? I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah, the plan's stupid, but I think everything like within
Yes.
Jabba's palace is cool.
Um,
I just don't think the Trade Federation ship is as
yeah.
cool as Jabba's palace.
I think Force Awakens is. I think Force Awakens or Empire Strikes Back are the two best paced movies. I think. I think they're both when they're slow. They're placed. Those slow sections are placed at really good points where it just got off of a really fast thing. Like for
Are you giving
instance,
JJ Abrams? Are you giving
yes,
JJ praise right now? Am I hearing
yes,
that
I
right?
am. Yes, like right after the Finn and Poe crash scene, it's slower because like we just got off a huge action scene. So it slowed down, which was good. But Last Jedi, I love the movie. It's my favorite Star Wars movie. It is a slow movie, and it starts really slow, and right as it gets to the third act, it just speeds off. And Rise of Skywalker is just scene, 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 end credits. Um,
Yeah.
so
It's
I
like
don't know.
running a marathon.
Yeah, I think that's the funny part is that you start off on a really slow movie and then you end off on a really really ridiculously fast movie.
Yeah. Well, I don't know, but I still don't know what happened. I don't even. I watched that movie too. I don't even know. I don't even know.
14 times, baby. 14 times it's strong.
Okay. The next piece of news is about probably one of my most anticipated projects. This is
Taika
coming from.
Waititi.
Nah, it's about the Acolyte. This is coming from Grace Randolph, an insider. She says the Acolyte is now cast in its lead, a female person of color who's college age and can do martial arts.
Clearly
Sounds
that
very
describes
promising.
me.
It will begin filming in London in the first quarter of 2022. So we
Yes,
can expect
dude.
the Acolyte to come out sometime in 2023, probably after the Mandalorian season 3 eventually arrives. So, Alex, uh, what are your thoughts on this Acolyte news?
Well, they're clearly trying to cast me, so I should just start applying. But I know. I mean, I'm excited for Acolyte, dude. I'm happy that they're getting a lot more press around it. Yeah, 2023, man. I think it could be just as, if not more, exciting than 2022 for Star Wars.
Yeah, I would agree. We're gonna get our first movie since Rise of Skywalker. We're gonna get the Acolyte, probably Lando, and we don't know much else. Maybe Rangers,
Mando.
eh, Mando possibly, and Ahsoka. So that's all very excited. It might be better now that you say that, but I think it's gonna be tough to beat Kenobi in 2022. Uh, yeah, this is very exciting. Obviously, Leslie Headland wanted a female lead. So, do we think this female is going to be a Jedi or a Sith? What are we thinking here?
A Dark Lord baddie. That's
You
who
think
we're
so?
getting. Yes, I think we. I don't know. I mean, it's too early to tell right now. I think honestly, we've seen a lot of female people of color in the High Republic comics and whatnot. So it could definitely just be casting for one of them, but I don't know. My prediction, my soft prediction is it's going to be someone who's bad, a baddie.
A dark side user.
I said a baddie. Doesn't matter
Uh,
who.
okay. Uh, uh, yeah, maybe. But I really think that the acolyte is Plagueis.
Do you?
Yeah,
I don't know.
I think it'd be an interesting tie, and I think that the the woman of color is going to be a Jedi. It's a mystery thriller. That's what it's been described as. So I think it's them like searching for the Sith. It presumably Plagueis. I think Plagueis is the acolyte.
You know what I just thought about, and it's kind of around the same thing. What if Plagueis or someone killed someone in like maybe like broad daylight or whatever with the red lightsaber? This gets told to the Jedi that this happened, and the whole show is leading up to them discovering that the Sith could return. And right when they discover that they are back, the people who discover are killed off, and that leads into the prequels, dude. And that's why it's a mystery thriller.
Oh, so essentially, I got a better idea. Plagueis is almost like we don't know that Plagueis is a Sith, but throughout the show, we hear about characters who die, and we can assume it's Plagueis. And then at the end of the series, they find him, and Plagueis kills him. But we see Plagueis throughout the show. Because it would make sense to show Plagueis, right? We've heard his name a lot in Star Wars. Like he was in Revenge of the Sith. They name drop him. He's pretty much like the essential reason why Palpatine came into power. It's pretty much Plagueis' fault. He found him as a Padawan, or presumably. We don't know the canon story for that, but it would make sense to have a story about Plagueis. We've heard about him in the main Star Wars trilogy, and I think would make sense. The end of the High Republic, lead it in towards the prequels. A young Plagueis, maybe he's killed Tenebrous already, because Tenebrous is canon, correct? We have a name, Tenebrous, so I think it'd be really cool to see Plagueis as the acolyte that they try to find, but they can't find him, obviously, right? They can't tell the Jedi because
maybe
of the Phantom Menace.
You know, I really want an Arrow-like show where we have a sort of vigilante-esque figure who's like going around and doing all these killings. What if we get a Jedi that does that? That's what we need, is just a show of a Jedi who's kind of like forced against the rules of the Jedi, and he's not allowed to do stuff. So he has to kind of go like undercover. I don't know. I feel like that'd be interesting. And I feel like that would be a good synopsis for the show, is a Jedi who breaks the rules of the Jedi and acquires
the Lost 20.
I don't know about that. I don't know about the Lost 20, but I'm talking about like he or she is committed to being a Jedi, but is being held back by the rules. So it feels like I'm going into Marvel and DC pulling stuff here, but kind of like how Captain America brings up the issues that the Sokovia Accords could bring up. You know, what if something's happening over here and we're not allowed to go help? So kind of like that, like this Jedi is being told, nope, you can't intervene right now. You need to focus on this or that. And so, you know, maybe they take on the name the Acolyte. You know, we've seen in Legends, they're called Sith Acolytes. They're prominent in the Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes game, but more specifically in the Force Unleashed 2. When you go to Cato Neimoidia, you see them there. They're even on Kamino with Darth Vader. And they are mostly dark side users who only use the Force. They don't use lightsabers. So we could definitely see some of that. I would like to hopefully see, possibly even see some like of the concept from the Force Unleashed 2. I definitely think they have a very, very cool design. They're kind of like ghost figures in a sense. You don't see their face. They're kind of just like these blue figures. I don't know. It's kind of weird. So maybe something like one of those two synopses of Plagueis accidentally reveals himself as a Sith. And so it's about a mystery thriller of them trying to maybe track down this guy. And it ends with everyone who was involved tracking him down dead. And that leads into the prequels.
Which I think would be really cool. Yeah, I think, again, I think Star Wars is becoming more of a connective universe like Marvel. So I think that would make the most sense. Plus, Plagueis has been name dropped in the main trilogy of the main 9 films. So, like, it would make sense.
Yep, absolutely.
All right. I think that's going to wrap up the show today, guys. Again, we talked a little bit about the Bad Batch, talked about some of the Acolyte and our first theatrical release since 2019, Rogue Squadron. Finally got some news for that show. Alex, where can they find you?
Candy in my van on TikTok. I just posted today. So
Yes.
I love.
By the way,
that
go
post.
check him out. He's gonna start making some 3D printing content.
I've already been creating 3D printing projects.
He is, but I think that's his niche. I think that's he's got to be. He's got to be the 3D printing guy.
Nope. Star Wars, Marvel, DC, and 3D printing.
Yes. Guys, you can find me if you're watching this on YouTube. You can watch these live on Twitch at Hammy D Man, and if you're on Twitch right now, you could check out my YouTube at Drew H, where all of these podcasts are uploaded. Again, find me on TikTok at Hammy D Man. That's where I predominantly post my Star Wars content. And if you want to just interact with me on Instagram, you can find me at Hammy D Man. So thank you guys for watching. We'll be back Wednesday for our Loki episode 4 review, and we will be back next Friday for our Bad Batch episode 10 review. So until then, we'll see you all later.